The Sith Order and their arch-enemies the Jedi have become synonymous with the dark and the light side of the Force. However, throughout the Star Wars galaxy's long history, other orders with slightly different philosophies also claimed to represent the will of the dark side and the light side of the Force. This video will explore the competing dark side orders within the Star Wars galaxy. The rest of this series will delve into lesser known organisations that follow the light side of the Force, as well as the mysterious and poorly understood Grey Jedi organisations, so make sure to subscribe with the notification bell on for those upcoming videos. The Prophets of the Dark Side were a Sith splinter group who rejected Darth Bane's Rule of Two. Founded by the three-eyed human mutant Darth Millennial around 1,000 years before the events of the Clone Wars, the Prophets of the Dark Side sought refuge from the Sith and the Jedi Orders. They would stay hidden throughout the Republic's Golden Age, honing their skills in the dark side and specialising in predicting future events. During the Clone Wars, the Dark Lord of the Sith himself, Darth Sidious, would seek an alliance with the Prophets, hoping to use their skills in dark side premonition to defeat his enemies. During the Imperial era, the Dark Jedi Kadann would become Supreme Prophet of the Dark Side and close advisor to the Emperor. The Prophets would predict the destruction of both Death Stars, as well as the Emperor's own demise. However, in the Emperor's arrogance, he laughed at the Prophets and became enraged that they would suggest he could be defeated. Many of the Prophets would flee to escape the Emperor's wrath, while those loyal to the Dark Lord of the Sith would reform the Prophets of the Dark Side into the Church of the Dark Side. The Church of the Dark Side, like their predecessors, were worshippers of the dark side of the Force, but were even more strongly connected to the Imperial military system. However, in reality, the Church of the Dark Side was a sham created by the Emperor's hand named Black Hole. He created the Church of the Dark Side as a way of ensuring chaos within the Imperial remnant after the death of the Emperor. He would therefore ensure that when the time came for Palpatine to return, the Imperial throne would remain empty. This dark side order would eventually be consumed in the bloody civil war that ravaged the Imperial remnant, with the majority of their leaders perishing only a few years after its formation. The Sorcerers of Rand were one of the more powerful dark side groups, with the previously mentioned Emperor's Hand, Black Hole, a former member of this organisation. The Sorcerers of Rand did not believe in the dark side or the light side of the Force. They simply believed in the inevitability of destruction and entropy within the universe. They believed that to truly serve the will of the dark, one must embrace and perpetuate this destruction. They called this fundamental principle of the universe the Dark and would follow this one simple line of philosophy. Only power is real, and the only real power is the power to destroy. Existence is fleeting, destruction is eternal. The Sorcerers of Rand had an ancient history, arguably many times longer than the Sith themselves. The Sorcerers were formed from a merger of three ancient dark-side cults within the Unknown Regions. The first group were known as the Kanzar Exiles, and specialised in expanding their faith through the mental enslavement of others. The second cult, the Nell of Muspili, formed hundreds of thousands of years before the Clone Wars. Their main purpose was to remake the ancient dark-side artifact known as the Tauranic Codex, which was said to call forth apocalyptic deities from beyond the netherworld of the Force. While the Nell of Muspili claimed they could still call forth these deities, it seems likely that this was simply propaganda. The third cult that comprised the Sorcerers of Rand were the Warriors of the Shadow, or as they were known in their native Mandalorian language, the Word of Verda. This cult was formed by a group of Tang, the precursors to the modern-day Mandalorians, hundreds of thousands of years before the Clone Wars. Natives of the world Notron, soon to be known as Coruscant, the Tang embraced the dark while fighting the other native species of the planet, humanity. Eventually, they were driven from ancient Coruscant by the humans, fading into obscurity for many thousands of years. While the majority of the Tang would go on to form the Mandalorian culture, a splinter group would escape to the Unknown Regions, embracing the dark side even further and attempting to understand the Force through meditation and insight. These three dark side faiths would coalesce to form the Sorcerers of Rand, hiding within the Unknown Regions for many thousands of years. The Sorcerers of Rand would eventually take control of 12 star systems within the Unknown Regions. Although it is known that some members of Palpatine's Inner Circle belong to this group, it is unknown what the ultimate fate of this organisation actually was. Next, we have the Bando Gore. This dark-side organisation is very unlike many other groups in this video. Initially formed from a group of grave robbers, the Bando Gore began worshipping the dark side and engaging in criminal activities. The Bando Gore expanded their operations in the Outer Rim and their ranks swelled. Those who did not convert were brutally killed or tortured. Those who did convert to their twisted religion were given powerful narcotics such as death sticks to make them subservient and compliant to the cult. After experiencing somewhat of a golden age around half a century before the Battle of Yavin, they are eventually driven off many of their worlds by the Republic, although at great cost to the Jedi. Although they would try to maintain power by forming alliances with other criminal organizations such as the Black Sun, their days were numbered. Although he briefly used them to help him overthrow his master, Sidious began to view them as a threat, particularly their new ex-Jedi leader, Komari Vosa. Soon after, Darth Tyrannus and Jango Fett would defeat and kill Komari Vosa, bringing an end to this particularly unpleasant Darkside organization. Another Darkside order that also had links to the criminal underworld was the Thetsuki Dervish. This group were formed on a highly acidic world by a group of pirates. Their leader believed they should use the Force to practice stealth, unarmed combat skills, and locating targets. Believing that the whole point of the Force was so one could become a living weapon, they soon became some of the most effective assassins for hire in the galaxy. The Jedi spent many years trying to eradicate this group from the core worlds, although their stealth abilities meant they were never truly wiped out from the galaxy. The final and most well-known Darkside order that rivaled the Sith were of course the Night Sisters. The Night Sisters were formed from the outcasts of the Witches of Dathomir. These individuals had often been outcast for practicing forbidden magic such as illusion spells and would articulate their philosophy in their holy text, the Book of Shadows. This text asserted the importance of Night Sister deities, the Wing Goddess and the Fang God, using this as a justification for exploring the dark side. They would compete with the other Witches of Dathomir for dominance and would gain notoriety after their failed attempt to destroy Coruscant using an ancient temple known as an Infinity Gate. During the Clone Wars, the Night Sisters would gain even more prominence on the galactic stage by selling their services to the highest bidder, becoming renowned as fearsome warriors. However, after Mother Talzin's failed assassination attempt against Count Dooku, Grievous would be sent to wipe out the Night Sister clan, very nearly succeeding in their complete annihilation. The Night Sisters would eventually regain enough power to reassert their dominance over Dathomir, but would soon face Palpatine's new empire, which sought to study and utilize the Night Sisters' abilities. Many would escape by allying themselves with criminal gangs, ensuring the survival of this Darkside order into the post-Imperial era. Another organization of Darkside adepts were the Inquisitors. In some ways, they were simply another tool of the Empire, similar to the Church of the Dark Side discussed earlier. However, some such as Vader, and to some extent Palpatine himself, considered the Inquisitors to be a violation of the rule of two Sith, the philosophy that prevented many lesser Darksiders from teaming up to overthrow one more powerful Dark Lord. To find out why Palpatine did not fear the Inquisitors overthrowing him, then check out this video.